Hey you guys, it's Amelia. This is Dressage TV. Thank you for watching. So this week is a show prep week. I've got 3 horses that I'm taking to the horse show. We're leaving on Friday and then we'll be competing Saturday and Sunday. So a couple tips that I want to share with you guys for show prep week. The first tip, which is kind of obvious, is memorize your test. So even if you're going to have a reader, it's really important that you know your test and that throughout the week you're kind of going through it, visualizing each piece of the test, how you want the movements to feel, how the corners and the short sides are going to feel, and really just familiarizing yourself with the pattern so that that's not an issue on show day. The second tip is practice your center lines and your halt, but don't halt at X, halt past X. It's easy in the daily training to forget to practice your halts, and it's a really simple and easy points that you guys should work to get. When I practice this though, I always halt past X because I found if I am practicing halting at X all the time, then in the show ring my horse wants to halt before X, and just progressively they keep trying to halt sooner and sooner. And especially if you have a judge on the side at B or E, they're going to see that and you're going to lose points. So my third tip, and I'm grazing Harvey, he's spoiled, extra spoiled. And please don't forget to like and subscribe to my channel. But my third tip is don't over practice your test. So I have a lot of people that want to just ride their test over and over and over again. And that's great, but the problem is that if you're not thinking about schooling, if you're not making corrections and fixing your horse and addressing issues, and you just keep riding your horse from beginning till end, it's going to get worse and worse because you're going to be supporting your horse more, trying to cover up mistakes. And that's what you do in the show ring, certainly. You have to make it look good, you have to make it look pretty, but when you're practicing your test, you need to be making correction. So what do I mean by schooling your test? If, say you need to make a trot canter transition at A, and your horse doesn't make the transition at A, you need to get after them and give them a kick and make your point. And then you need to go around and immediately practice that transition again. If you just keep going through your test and finish the rest of your test, you're basically teaching your horse not to do that transition properly at A. So as you practice movements and parts of your test, be willing to go back and fix things. If you're making a circle and your horse isn't bending properly, go ride the circle again. If you're trying to ride a half pass and your horse isn't bending, you need to problem solve a little, ride some circles, ride some haunches in. So definitely in the week leading up to your show, practice pieces of the test, put things together, but when you run into a problem, don't just keep going. Address that issue. The fourth tip is plan to give your horse a day off. So it's really tempting in the week leading up to the show, like you just oh, I need to practice, I have all this stuff I need to work out. But you don't want your horse to get to the show and be fatigued and muscle sore. So my horses usually go 3 days on and 1 day off. So if I'm leaving for the show Friday, I'm going to try to give them all Thursday off so that I get to the show Friday, they're fresh, their legs are rested, their muscles are rested, and that I think sets me up for the best success at the show. My fifth tip is to really plan your warm-up. So at the show, your warm-up should be pretty similar to your warm-up routine at home. Horses thrive on having a routine and a pattern. So you don't want to get to the show and suddenly change that. You want to have kind of the same pattern. But you also want to really have a clear idea in your mind as far as your test and what you need to accomplish in the warm-up so that when you go in the show ring, your horse is ready. So what do I mean by that? I'll use my horse Gatsby as an example. So Gatsby has trouble with the bending and the suppleness just because of his conformation. So I know that in my warm-up that I really have to make sure that he's bending evenly left and right, that he's through, that he's supple, so that when I go into the show ring and I have to ride my half passes and my pirouettes, that I don't all of a sudden realize that my horse isn't bending. And for my warm-up, working on that bending and that throughness is more important than riding all the movements in my warm-up. So these are just some tips to think about in the week before your show, and also just in your general training. Even if you're not showing, it's really great to pick a test, learn it, ride through some of the movements, see where your holes are. The tests are really well designed. Like if you read through from training level up through 4th level, even up through the Grand Prix, the tests are really well designed to prep you for the next level, and they're very incremental. So you see, like, each test is progressively a little harder. Something new shows up. So even if your goal isn't to show, which is absolutely fine, it's good to set these little mini goals and, you know, try to ride through part of a test, because it'll push you and your horse, and it will also educate you and your horse to train and ride dressage. So I hope that this little video helps you guys, and I'll keep you posted how the show goes. How Harvey does. Harvey's debuting 3rd level. Harvey's debuting 3rd level. That's always scary, the first time you have to do a flying change in the ring.